Hey there, welcome to Synth Seeker. My name's Luke. Just a real short one today. I want to talk about macro versus micro tools. This is a macro tool. All right. This is all my opinion, right? But this is a tool that does a lot of interesting things to your audio. You could have pedals, effects, synthesizers, software, VSTs, things like that. All of these music making tools fall on the spectrum from micro tools that do one thing well, to macro tools that are sort of opinionated boxes with recipes in them that do a bunch of interesting things. There's nothing wrong with macro versus micro. I'm not saying one's better than the other. But what I'm suggesting is that you might want to pay attention and just be aware of your own tool chain for what you do. This is a tool that takes some audio, does some looping and mangling of it, applies some delay or reverb ambience, and then you get a cool sound that comes out of it. An equivalent, or maybe not equivalent, but something similar would be to build yourself a little tool by chaining together a bunch of micro tools. All right. So looping, some mangling or modulation, and then some ambience. All right. These are not the same, but they're similar. The difference is this being a macro tool, you're locked into the recipe it provides. Whereas if you're using a chain of micro tools, you have a little more flexibility in what you can do. You could swap something in and out, say, for example. You could do something like that if you feel like it. Now, that's not necessarily better. It's just different, right? And you could chain together a number of micro tools to do something even weirder or whatever. And then at the end of the day, you can take a macro tool and mix it in with a bunch of micro tools. That works too. But just be aware and be kind of intentional with your tool chain about what you're doing. If you're using a macro tool, they're awesome, but they also are opinionated sonically. This sounds like a Mood Mark II pedal. And if I run some audio through it, it's recognizable. There's nothing wrong with that if you want that sound, but just be aware. These are also recognizable in isolation. A univibe sounds like a univibe. Reverb is going to sound like reverb. A phaser is going to sound like phaser. But just know that you've got an option of working in the macro domain, the micro domain, or somewhere in between. So, I don't know. Let me know what you like to do. I lean towards micro tools and then a judicious application of macro tools from time to time. Some people live and die by these things, and that's okay. But what do you do? Let me know. Thanks for spending time with me. This has been Synth Seeker. Talk to you later.